My uncle called me 3 months ago, 61 years old, 40 years of work, and he said, I don't think I'm going to be able to retire. So I sat down with him, pulled up every account, every asset, everything. And what I found genuinely made me angry. Not at him. He had over $800,000 in wealth, and nobody had ever helped him see it. Here's what I figured out sitting with my uncle that afternoon. The financial industry, the media, the apps, the ads, it doesn't make money when you feel secure. It makes money when you feel behind, when you feel like you're one market crash away from disaster, when you're anxious enough to click, subscribe, buy the course, open the new account. Your financial anxiety is someone else's business model. And the cruelest part, a lot of people who have been quietly, steadily building real wealth for decades, they feel it the most because they've been marinating in that anxiety their whole working life. My uncle is one of them. Maybe you are too. So today I want to show you 5 types of quiet wealth, the kind that doesn't feel like wealth until someone actually helps you see it. And at the end, I'm going to give you 3 questions you can answer tonight that will tell you exactly where you actually stand. Stay with me, because one of these might change how you see your entire financial life. Type 1, the Invisible Millionaire. And my uncle, he's actually this one. For 38 years, he contributed to his workplace retirement plan, not because he had a strategy, not because he read the right books, because when he started his first real job at 23, the HR lady, and he still remembers her name, Sandra, she handed him a form and said, "You want to put something away for later?" And he said, "Sure." He never changed it, never moved it around, never panicked and pulled it out in 2008 when everyone around him was losing their minds. You know what Sandra's form did in 38 years? It turned $200 a month, less than his current phone bill, into $847,000. He didn't know. He genuinely did not know. When I showed him the number, he thought I was reading it wrong. That's the Invisible Millionaire. They don't feel wealthy because they never acted wealthy. Same car for 10 years, lunch from home, vacations where you drive, not fly. The entire time, their money was quietly compounding in the background, like a fire that nobody saw because everyone was looking somewhere else. Here's the thing about compound interest that nobody explains in a way that actually lands. It doesn't grow like a salary. It doesn't grow like a savings account. It grows like a rumor. Slow at first, invisible, and then suddenly it's everywhere and you can't believe how big it got. $200 a month at 8% average annual return starting at 23. By 61, that's $847,000. Not because of genius, because of time. Your 60-second check. Pull up your 401k or workplace pension right now. Whatever the number is, write it down. We'll come back to it at the end. Type 2 is the one that's going to make homeowners physically uncomfortable in the best possible way, because this type of wealth is literally sitting in your driveway. There's a woman in my neighborhood, I'll call her Patricia, bought her house in 2004 for $195,000. 3 bedrooms, needed a new roof, nothing special. She bought it because she needed somewhere to live, full stop. Last year she had it appraised, $510,000. She called me after and said, that can't be right. She had the appraiser come back. Same number, $510,000. Patricia has been a millionaire in the technical sense for probably 6 years. She shops at discount grocery stores because she thinks she can't afford the other ones. Here's what Patricia was missing. Home equity isn't just a number on a Zillow page. It's a retirement asset. When she's ready, she can downsize to something smaller and pocket $300,000 tax-free because the IRS allows a $250,000 capital gains exclusion on a primary home for a single filer, $500,000 for married couples. She could relocate somewhere with half the cost of living and turn her equity into a decade of freedom. She could use a reverse mortgage to turn it into monthly income without ever selling. But more than any of that, Patricia doesn't have a mortgage payment anymore. She paid it off 6 years ago, which means her monthly expenses are dramatically lower than someone still renting, still paying a mortgage, which means the retirement savings she actually needs to draw from is a fraction of what the scary financial articles say she needs. Low expenses, plus home equity, plus whatever's in her retirement account equals a retirement that works. Patricia's not behind. Patricia is set. The caveat that matters, this only works if you've held the home and haven't been pulling the equity out every few years to fund lifestyle. The magic is in the holding. Your check. What's your home worth today? Subtract what you still owe. That number, your equity, is part of your retirement picture. Write it down. Type 3 is the one that's going to make a specific kind of person feel genuinely seen, because their biggest investing advantage wasn't discipline, it wasn't intelligence, it was the fact that they were too busy to panic. I want to tell you about a guy named Marcus. Marcus set up automatic contributions to the S&P 500 index fund in 2009, which, if you know your financial history, was roughly the worst possible time to start investing. The market had just lost half its value. Everyone was calling it a once-in-a-generation catastrophe. Marcus invested anyway, not because he was brave, because he set it up automatically and then got busy with his actual life and forgot to cancel it. He didn't check his portfolio when the market dropped in 2011, didn't sell in 2018 when everyone was panicking, didn't touch it in March 2020 when the whole world thought the economy was ending. He forgot to panic. And that forgetfulness, that beautiful, accidental emotional discipline, is the reason that $400 a month turned into something that genuinely shocked him when he finally sat down and looked properly last year. Here's the number that breaks people's brains. $50,000 invested in the S&P 500 index fund 20 years ago is worth approximately $336,000 today. Same money, zero additional contributions, just time and the discipline of doing absolutely nothing. The S&P 500 has returned roughly 10% annually on average over the long run. Not every year, some years are brutal, but the average. And that average, applied over decades, turns ordinary people into quietly extraordinary ones. The enemy of this strategy isn't the market, it's you. Or more specifically, it's the version of you that checks the portfolio during a crash and feels the urge to do something. Marcus accidentally solved that problem by ignoring it. Don't sell yourself short because your strategy wasn't sophisticated. Sophisticated strategies with brilliant people behind them underperform boring index funds most of the time. Marcus didn't need brilliance, he needed a debit card and a full schedule. Your check. Do you have money in an index fund you set up more than 5 years ago and haven't touched? If yes, go look at it right now. Not to do anything, just to see. You might be surprised. Type 4. This is the one I need you to pay close attention to. Because if you are this type, and you will know in about 90 seconds, what I'm about to tell you is worth mathematically somewhere between $500,000 and $1.2 million. And most people who have it have never once thought about it this way. My mother taught school for 31 years. She retired at 58 with a defined benefit pension. Every month, without fail, a check shows up, $3,200. Whether the market is up, whether it's down, whether inflation is raging or calm, it just shows up. She has spent her entire retirement convinced she's not wealthy. She clips coupons, she worries out loud about whether her savings will last. She apologizes for not having more to leave my sister and me. Mom, stop. Here's what I had to explain to her and what I want to explain to you. To generate $3,200 a month, $38,400 a year from a traditional investment portfolio using the standard 4% safe withdrawal rule, you would need $960,000 in savings. Her pension is worth nearly $1 million, guaranteed, for life, inflation adjusted in some years, and she will never, ever run out of it no matter how long she lives. She looked at me when I told her this and said, "That can't be right." It's right, Mom. Teachers, firefighters, police officers, government workers, military veterans, long-tenured union employees. If you spent 25 or more years in one of these careers and you're fully vested, you are carrying an asset that the rest of the working world cannot buy at any price because they stopped making them. Defined benefit pensions are increasingly rare. The private sector largely eliminated them decades ago. What you have is not a nice little monthly check. It is a financial instrument worth hundreds of thousands of dollars that is completely immune to market crashes, sequence of returns risk, and the terrifying question of whether you'll outlive your money. Add Social Security on top of that pension. Many pension recipients don't need to touch their personal savings at all in retirement. They're done, fully funded, for life. You spent your career feeling underpaid compared to private sector peers, and sometimes that was genuinely true. But the deferred compensation in that pension, that's the payoff. The slow burn payoff that your private sector peers will spend their entire retirement trying to replicate, and most of them won't get there. You didn't look wealthy at 45, you look extraordinary at 65. The caveat, you need to be fully vested. If you left before vesting, the math is very different. Check your plan documents. Your check. If you have a pension, find your most recent statement and look at your projected monthly benefit. Then multiply it by 300. That number, rough as it is approximately what it would cost to replicate that income from a personal portfolio. Write it down next to your other numbers. Type 5 is my favorite because this is the only person on this list who knows they've been doing something right. They were intentional, they put in the work, and they still have no idea how rich they actually are because they've been asking the wrong question about their own money. Picture someone who spent 15 years investing in dividend-paying stocks and ETFs and reinvesting every single payment. They know what they're doing. They're proud of it. They check their portfolios semi-regularly. They see $400,000 and they think, solid, but not there yet. Here's what they're not seeing. That $400,000 isn't a pile of money. It's a machine. It's a factory that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, producing income whether they work or not, whether they sleep or not, whether the market goes up or down that week. At a 3 to 4% dividend yield, that $400,000 is generating $12,000 to $16,000 a year in passive income right now, today. And because they've been reinvesting, more shares buying more shares, companies raising their dividends every year, that income number grows every single year without them adding another dollar. By retirement, a disciplined dividend compounder isn't looking at $400,000. They're looking at a machine that pays them $25,000, $30,000, maybe more per year automatically for the rest of their life. The real wake-up moment for these people, and I've watched it happen in real time, it's one of my favorite things, is when they finally do the math properly and realize, I don't have to sell anything. I don't have to draw down the portfolio. The money just arrives. That is what financial freedom actually looks like. Not a number, a flow. You didn't build a savings account. You built a business, and that business has been paying you dividends, literally, that you've been reinvesting so quietly you forgot to appreciate what you were building. Look at the income number, not just the portfolio value. That's the real number. That's what you actually built. Okay, here is what I promised you at the start. 3 questions. Answer them honestly, and if you say yes to 2 or more, you are almost certainly richer than you think. Question 1. Have you been contributing to any retirement account, 401k, pension, IRA, anything, consistently for more than 10 years without cashing it out? Question 2. Have you owned a home that you've lived in for more than 7 years and you have not been repeatedly pulling the equity out? Question 3. Do you have any investment account, index fund, dividend stocks, anything that you set up more than 5 years ago and have mostly left alone? If you said yes to 2 of those 3 questions, you have quiet wealth, real wealth, the kind that doesn't show up in your lifestyle but absolutely shows up in your net worth. Add those numbers up, the retirement accounts, the home equity, the investment accounts, not just one of them, all of them, together. That total is your actual financial picture. Not the anxiety, not the scary headlines, not the feeling that you're always a little bit behind. The number. I want to end with something I've been thinking about since that afternoon with my uncle. We spent 3 hours going through his accounts, and at the end, when the total was sitting there on the screen, he was quiet for a long time, and then he said, I wish someone had shown me this 10 years ago. I worried for nothing. And that hit me harder than I expected. Because the worry wasn't nothing, it was real. He felt it. He carried it to work every day for decades. He made smaller choices, vacations he didn't take, things he didn't buy because of a financial fear that, it turns out, wasn't telling him the truth. That's what I want to give you today. Not just information, a more accurate picture. Because you deserve to make decisions about your life based on what's actually true, not based on an anxiety that somebody else profits from. So, here's what I want you to do. Take those 3 questions. Do the math tonight, and if the number surprises you, if you're further along than you thought, I want you to sit with that for a minute, not just scroll past it. You earned that number. Every boring contribution, every month you didn't panic, every year you just kept going when it would be easier to stop. Drop your number in the comments, not the actual figure, just which type you are, because I promise there are people watching this right now who need to see that someone just like them figured it out. And if you want the exact step-by-step process for calculating your full retirement picture, not just a rough number, but the real thing, I've got a video right here that walks through exactly how to do it. You might be a lot closer than you've let yourself believe. I'll see you there.